Hey guys, okay, so pretty awesome news. The brand new M3 MacBooks have arrived. Pretty much everyone on YouTube is unboxing and benchmarking the brand new laptops. And after watching Dave TD, Carl, uh, Justine, pretty much everyone unbox and review these new machines, it's quite obvious that they are absolute monsters. And if you're a person that really gets into benchmarks, and I think really, like, after watching all the reviews and spending like an hour just getting everyone's opinion on these brand new machines, I really think that you don't need to rush out and buy this. Here's who I think these new machines are for, especially like the Pro and the Max. If you are someone that does like really high grade film editing, you're in game development, you do like any kind of 3D work, if you need to crunch like massive files, perhaps you're like a coder or developer or something like that, in all honesty, there's probably no real reason to go out and buy the new M3 chips. The M1 and the M2 are still very, very powerful computers. And now that the M3s are out, you should see the price of those drop, which would be great. Here's what I'll say. I watched a video by Tom the Tech Chap, and Tom the Tech Chap. That's hard to say. I watched his video, and it's very, very detailed. It's an excellent video. You should really go and check it out. He goes through all of the benchmarks. So, you know, like 3D benchmarks, just literally everything that you can think of. And for the most part, the M2 Ultra in the Mac Studio will do everything that the brand new M3 chips can do. It basically keeps up. In some things, like in graphical performance things, it actually outdoes the M3, which you would expect because it's got more GPU cores. But for the road warrior, like, you know, someone like Tom actually, who's often on the road doing a lot of video editing and really needs that power on the go, that's where the M3 computers are going to be the go-to for most people. I really don't think that, you know, the everyday user like myself who just does some creative work has to rush out and buy the brand new M3 machines. Let's talk about a couple of things that I also noticed after watching all of the other reviews and unboxings. The brand new color, this really dark black, it's not black per se, it's actually a very dark gray color, which Apple is kind of known for. What they did talk a lot about in their initial M3 Scary Fast event was the fact that they have this new anodized process. So the idea here is they've come out with this new process to make these computers kind of like fingerprint rejected. I don't know what the best word or terminology there is. Basically, they reject fingerprints better than any other laptop. Funny, Dave 2D did this video and actually really liked it. Let me bring it up on the screen here, where he actually got his nose. It's pretty funny. It's a funny video, and he talks about, you know, his nose being essentially the most greasy part of his face, and he kind of like wipes it onto the computer itself, and you really can't see the grease on the computer itself, on the shell itself. And he compares it to the black Razer laptop, and, you know, the black Razer, which is very, very black, does show that grease up, and you can't really like wipe it away. You would essentially have to get like a spray and like a lint-free cloth to try and wipe that off. Whereas the new MacBooks do a very good job of rejecting the oil and the smudges that you would typically get. So really great video. I do suggest you go and check it out. In most of these new videos that you're going to watch, they've all been sent the top spec M3 Max chip, which essentially gives you like 128 gigs of RAM, and it's got like 4 terabytes, and it's an absolute monster. It's like crazy, crazy, crazy fast. Most people probably aren't going to get that spec. They're more than likely going to get like a base level M3, which for the most part is going to be a very, very good computer. Let's have a look at what the price is here in Australia. So I'm just going to jump on JB Hi-Fi, which is our kind of, typical computer electronics store online. Oh, okay, that's quite cheap. The Pixel 7 is only $6.99 at the moment. That's a really good buy. Let's go to Apple M3. And you can see, so if you get the base model, 14-inch M3, 512 gigabytes of SSD, you're looking at $2,600. If you go for the Pro chip, it's $34.99. What do we got here? So it's this. Okay, that's just the silver. If you go 1 terabyte with the M3 chip, you're looking at $3,000. The base model M1 in the iMac is actually not too bad. That's $27.99. I think that's pretty reasonable for what you're getting there. What else we got here? So if you go the base model iMac, which comes with the M3 8-core, 256 gigs of storage, you're looking at $21.99. I don't know about that. I think I'd probably opt for the 512, which is going to give you a lot more storage. So yeah, these are fairly well priced, I think. You can even trade in some of your old gear if you're in Australia and get a discount off that. So I thought that was a really great way to start the day. I love seeing the new machines get unboxed and benchmarked. Even though I'm not a huge benchmark person, I just love seeing how much Apple improves year over year. One thing that was really interesting, and I thought nobody else really covered this, was Tom the Tech Chap did some gaming while the device was plugged in. So he fired up a game and he was getting about 120 frames per second. And then he played the exact same game with the MagSafe power unplugged, and the performance did drop dramatically. I think it was like 20 frames per second. So there's a huge boost. It seems to be only in certain games, and maybe it's just like a thing that Apple needs to drop an update for. But if you're looking to buy a laptop like the new M3 for gaming, you might be a little tiny bit disappointed if Apple doesn't fix the performance issues right now. I'm assuming they'll probably drop, an update, and then you'll get the performance that you typically would. But it seems like all the other apps, like all the video editing and benchmark software and everything like that, they're fine. But as soon as you do any kind of modern gaming, it seems to do better with the actual power plugged in. Don't know why. It's just how it is right now. So just be aware of that. Now, a couple of little things that may or may not interest you. So I use ChatGPT quite a lot in my day-to-day role, and there's been a massive update to it that's just rolled out. And essentially, right now, if you are using OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, they've just rolled out this really cool way for you to create your own version of ChatGPT. So you could essentially create your own app that does something, I'll give you an idea. So I write a lot of Facebook ads in my day-to-day role. Perhaps you create your own OpenAI ChatGPT app that's specifically designed to write Facebook ads. Maybe you create your own app that, writes YouTube scripts or YouTube descriptions. This is pretty wild. It's a massive step forward. I've only briefly read this article, but it just talks about how easy it is to go and do this. So, if you're looking to create an app, or maybe, ChatGPT is part of your everyday role, you can go and do this right now. This is a pretty big update that they've rolled out, and I think it's a really interesting step for them. They've obviously noted that a lot of people are creating their own OpenAI apps. It seems like every single app I use in my day-to-day role has some sort of AI built into it. I'll give you a brief rundown. So Canva, I use Canva to create different types of graphics. It's got its own AI, which is actually surprisingly good. I use Descript for my video editing and for doing my podcast. It's got a really good AI built into it. I use WordPress for doing website and blogging and SEO stuff. It's got its own SEO built in via a plugin. It's just kind of everywhere right now. So I can just see this really being a massive step forward in that sort of AI space. Funnily enough, if you didn't listen to yesterday's podcast, just go and listen to it. It's only pretty short. It's only about 8 minutes. You're kind of seeing two sides of this happening right now. So you've got, all these people pushing for AI, doing all this advanced stuff, creating artwork, creating content, creating music. It's just wild. Like, there's so much stuff you can do with it. And then on the flip side, you've got people like Leica, who are kind of going in the other direction, where it's like, well, we want to make sure that images taken on our cameras are original. They're not, tampered with. They're not AI enhanced in any way. These are original photographs, and they're kind of building this system where you can see how the image was created, what editing has been done, and it's kind of building that into the image file, which is very interesting. So there's a lot happening in this space. AI is just super interesting. It's just going at like insane speeds. Every time I open a new app or get an email in the morning, it's like, hey, we've got AI built in. It's just like, what? It's just crazy. It's happening so quickly. All right, one other quick thing. If you're not familiar, TikTok a little while ago created what's called the Creator Fund. And basically what it means is they would pay creators to create content on the platform. It was a huge fund. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. It was $1 billion. But they've just announced that they are discontinuing it for people in the US, the UK, Germany, and France from December 16. So bit of a bummer. For me, I'm in Australia, so it doesn't affect me yet, but I'm assuming it will probably roll out to most major countries. It just says here it was originally introduced in 2020 with the company promising to pay out over $1 billion over the course of 3 years to people making the app's viral content. So TikTok really just exploded. It still obviously continues to get better and better all the time. But it looks like, unfortunately, this creator program is going to disappear, which will probably upset a lot of people on the program. I imagine most people that have built a following will probably make money through sponsorships and other ways. So I'm hoping it doesn't hurt too many creators, but a little bit disappointing. So there we go, guys. That's the brand new M3 chips, benchmarks and unboxed, and everyone's testing out this, anodized finish and everything like that. ChatGPT 4 is crazy. If you're in the AI space in any way, go and check out this brand new system for you to create your own app. And like I mentioned, TikTok is getting rid of a fund, which is disappointing, but maybe they just can't sustain that type of growth. So that's it for today, guys. Just want to say thank you. The podcast is growing, and I really appreciate everyone listening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.